this one, I'm going to make a coat more accessible. And the coat is just one that I picked up at the store. It's really nice, soft, faux fur almost. It's got a really nice zipper in the front, and it's nice and comfortable and like medium warmth. So the few things that you need for this is you need the coat that you're going to adapt. You need some magnets, like these. And then I also picked up just this is a fleece. It's very similar and it's about the same color. This is just a fabric that I picked up to make like a binding. You could try to find a similar fabric to this, like a faux fur. Or you could also use a fun fabric, like a printed quilting cotton for for what we're using it for. So that's just a personal preference. You may want to decide after I've shown you what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip up my coat and I'm going to turn it over. So we're working on the back side of our coat, and what you're going to do, just make sure that the seams are spread out evenly on either side, so you've got it nice and flat with the seams lined up right here, the side seams of your coat. Then we need to find the middle point along the coat. So I'm going to use a ruler here and just find the middle. And of course, it's not an even number, which would make it so easy. So I'm looking at about 16 and a half. So the middle will be 8 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some pins and mark the middle. So here's 8. 8 1/4 is about right here, like so. 8 1/4 is right here. Now this doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm just going to 8 1/4. I'm just going to line these up here with this, like so, so that you have a straight line. You can even just eyeball it. I just want to have a good idea of where the middle of my coat is. And then I'm just going to find along the bottom as well. So you could just, once you have a few, just line it this way and place a mark at the bottom, like so. Okay. So once you've found the middle, you're going to take the brave, bold step of cutting the coat. Now make sure that you are not cutting through both layers. You just want to cut through the top, but we are cutting through the lining on the inside and the back of the coat. I'm just gonna cut a straight line, as straight as I can. This is in the back. It's gonna be on the wheelchair seat, so I mean, you know, it is what it is. This might be messy. This faux fur is not the cleanest thing, but that's okay. So as I go, I'm just kind of removing those pins and then lining up my scissors with the next pin that's available. Then I'll scoot down. Again, I'm just going to line it. This one is all the way through, so there we go. And I'll line it up with that pin, like so. And I'm moving my way up. We're cutting the coat open. This is scary. Don't be scared, it's all right. And then the last step is to just go straight all the way up, all the way through, all the way to the top. That's a lot of all the ways, but it is what it is. So now I'm just gonna line my scissors up. I didn't place a pin at the top, but I'm not too worried about it. I think it's gonna be all right. Cut, 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 cut. Ah! All right, we've cut the coat entirely in half on the back. Okay, so we're ready to move on. So I'm gonna just set this coat aside. Just gonna fold it to the side for now. We're gonna need it for some measurements in a second. But the first step, we're gonna grab our, and you can see this stuff is super messy. Look at all that. The same as the coat. This is not a clean job. You can use a vacuum and vacuum all the excess off. Now you wanna make sure you have enough so that it goes the whole length of the back of your coat, because we're going to use it as a binding piece. So I'm just going to fold this over, and I know I have enough because I can see that it's the same length as my coat. So I'm just going to fold it over, and I'm going to cut myself two 2-inch strips of this fleece, which is here, like so. Here's the first one. And our second one. And now we need to cut a tab to place our magnet in. So let's just make sure that we have our magnets. Open them up. Alright, so here are our magnets, and we're just going to use two. You can see they've got a nice strong pull. And I'm going to create just a little pocket for this. So what is going to happen is I'm going to fold it over like that. So I need enough space on top and bottom and the edge to finish the seam. So this is 4 inches by 2 inches. That's what I'm going to cut. 4 inches by 2 inches. So this is what you will have, a 4 by 2 tab. That is where we'll put our magnet. Okay, now we are done with this big piece of fleece. Get rid of some of that. Looks like a job for the vacuum cleaner later, which is me. I'm the vacuum cleaner. The person who does the vacuum cleaning. Okay, so we've got our 3 pieces of the fleece, we've got our 2 magnets, and we're ready to get going. So I'm going to set my magnets aside for now. I'm going to bring my coat back. This fur picks everything up. I'm definitely going to have to do some cleaning. Okay. I'm going to fold the edge under just a little bit, and then I'm going to clip it in place. Now, I'm going to line that clip that we just did up with the top of my coat. And you can clip, or if you're not a clip person, you can just start sewing. We're going to sew down, we're going to sew this down along the entire length of the coat. Just the one side to start. We're going to repeat this on both sides though. So I'm just going to clip it in place so that I can see how much I need, so that I can clip the edge here, trim the edge, like so, like so, all the way to the bottom. Then when I'm at the bottom, I'm just going to clip underneath by a little bit so I can fold it up as well. And then I'm going to fold it up to meet the bottom of the coat and clip that in place. This is similar, we're doing this similar to how we would do the binding on a quilt, but we're making it a little different. And you could just use, if your coat's the same length, we could have just used this as our pocket, but we didn't know. That's lazy because I didn't measure. If I had measured, I would have known. So now we're ready to put this in place. So I'm just going to sew straight down, all the way down. Alright, so we're just going to sew in place. I'm going to sew about a 1/4 inch in. And don't forget to backstitch once you start it. Sometimes my machine needs a little help. If you're having a hard time, you can use a walking foot. If your machine doesn't really want to go through all of this. As well. And while we're here at our machine, grab your 2x4 piece, and if you have a right side or a wrong side, you want to put the right sides together on the inside facing each other, and I'm just going to sew straight along each side. I'm going to leave this part open. You'll want to clean your machine after this, being that this is a messy business. And again, the walking foot is definitely the best foot for this. Okay, so we've sewed our pocket and you're ready. You're just going to turn it out so the seams are on the inside. I'm making a big old mess with this fabric here. So there's our pocket, and this is where we're going to place our first magnet. Goes inside the pocket, right like that. It shouldn't move around too much, but a little bit is okay. Up and down. We're gonna put it in. We're gonna sew along this edge too, so we'll stay nice and snug. So we're gonna move on to our next step on the coat. So first, we're going to just take the fleece that we just sewed on and we're going to fold it over to the back side like so, and you're going to clip in place again. This is going to cover up a lot of that raw edge of the coat that we have hanging out here. So I'm not pulling it super tight. It's okay to have a little bit on the front like that. Clipping it in place. And your goal is just to make it even as you clip. Okay, so that's our next step. While you're at it, you can get this side prepped. We're just going to repeat the first step on this side. Now, last step before we sew, we're going to go back to the top of our coat. I want you to grab your pocket that you just created, and we're going to clip it right here, and we want to sew through that as well. So I'm going to just clip here and clip here, and now I'm going to sew down there. You can see we'll have a little bit of a raw edge there, but that's okay. I'm going to actually use a zigzag stitch to close off that edge. So we've got two things to sew, and we're ready to bring our machine back out. Now you can see we've zigzagged this on, so our tab is nice and tight and attached. I would recommend maybe going over it at least one more time. And you see we've got our binding piece sewn in place. So here's what the coat looks like on the outside, and you can hardly even see there's a little stitch line right here. It just barely disrupts the fur, so you can't even see where we've sewn it on. So that's one side done. We're ready to start the second side. Now that you've sewn on both your tabs, your coat is all set, and it will hold on right there. If you need, you can add more magnetic tabs going down the back of the coat, but the one tab is just enough and is exactly what I need for my son. So it's all set. Let's go try it on him.